Okay, so please note that point of all or nothing uh, uh, nature of the action potential as one of the properties of action potentials or nerve impulses. So here we are basically going to look at the properties of nerve impulses. The first point being that nerve impulses are generated if you have excitation of sensory receptors, and then this excitement is what gives rise to the actual potentials that are going to be propagated along different neurons, where you will have the sensory neuron, the relay neuron, and then the motor neuron. Of course, we have different types of receptor cells or receptor neurons that respond to different stimuli, whether touch, pressure, pain, temperature, and either chemicals, hormones, and many other things. Propagation is the transmission of the nerve impulses. This propagation happens along the axon, and we have also noted that presence of the medicine makes it possible that you are going to have impulses that are going to be jumping across the nodes of the ganglia, and that makes propagation faster. Okay, we have what you call local currents. This is basically to explain the fact that the depolarization can happen in particular segments of the axon. Okay, that means that the depolarization is moves segment by segment, by segment. Okay, so you have local currents that are generated. So the other thing is about the transmission of impulses. The process is actually very, very, very fast. Okay, just imagine when you touch a hot object, you withdraw your hands immediately from that. It means that already by the time you remove in your hands, the information, that is the electrical impulses, have been passed to the brain and then interpreted, and then an action has been initiated for it to withdraw the hands. That is how fast impulses are actually transmitted. But of course, you have other factors such as presence of the mailing sheath, the diameter of the axon, and the temperature influencing the rate at which you have the impulse being transmitted. So the mailing sheath, presence of mailing sheath actually increases the rate of transmission of impulses. Okay, so myelinated nerves, the transmission of the impulse is faster compared to the non-myelinated nerves. Okay, like I said earlier on, the mailing sheath is basically fatty, and here we are noting that it has 70% lipids and 30% protein. So it has a bilayer. Okay, so the mailing acts as an insulator. That means that the depolarization only happens at the nodes of ganglia, and this is what results into the saltatory conduction, where the action potentials jump the mailing sheath to another node. Okay, and the fact that it's actually jumping, it increases the speed. So in comparison with non-myelinated nerves, you have action potentials traveling faster in myelinated nerves than non-myelinated nerves. Okay, so this is what you see, that the impulse will jump. Depolarization happens at the nodes of ganglia here. So it just keeps on jumping there. The larger the diameter, the faster the rate of transmission of an impulse, because of the fact that you have greater membrane surface area for ion exchange to happen. But secondly, you have reduced resistance. In electricity, the greater the diameter, the lower the resistance it is an inverse relationship. So it's the same thing that happens here, that the larger the diameter, the faster the rate of transmission because of reduced resistance. And that's why you have invertebrates having giant axons that facilitate faster responses for them to escape any unpleasant stimuli or any danger. Increase in temperature increases the rate of transmission of impulses, and that's why you have endotherms being very active because of the fact that they have faster transmission speeds compared to ectotherms. So that marks the end of this presentation, where we have looked at concepts to do with how ions contribute to 1. Polarization, 2. Depolarization, 3. Hyperpolarization, and how that results into the propagation of an impulse in one direction. Thank you.